Alrighty, guys, we're once again 5-1 in our last 6 NBA tier package bets on my website. And if you want to see which one of these plays on my videos that I'm actually betting on personally, you may want to think about signing up for my NBA package on patreon.com/BrockPage. And I'll explain a little bit more about that in just a moment. But before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick time out and welcome you to my, what are we doing here? MLB Part 2 video. Major League Baseball free pick video part 2 for Tuesday, April 25th, 2023. Happy Tuesday to you. Hopefully you got your, you had a good start to your week. My name is Brock Page. I've been dishing out free sports picks right here on YouTube since 2016. I also sell my personal sports bets on patreon.com/BrockPage. Once again, guys, I'm 5-1 in my last 6 NBA tier package bets on that site. And the good news is I have another NBA tier package play going off here this evening. Now, if you sign up for that membership here today, you're going to get access to that package for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, guys, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships absolutely free. They're going to be included with your purchase. I currently have over 530 members. We're signed up and active on my website right now, and you may be wondering what the difference is between what I do here on YouTube and what I do on my website. Well, what I do here on YouTube is I'll handicap the entire slate of games in any given sport, side and total. And what I do on my website is I actually share with you which one of these free plays on these videos that I'm actually betting on personally. And with that, let's go ahead and dive into some free content. We're going to take a look at the White Sox at the Blue Jays, 7:07 Eastern first pitch. Toronto's -$2, totals 9.5. Jose Barrios for Toronto, Mike Clevinger for Chicago. And even though Clevinger has been solid, he has had some control issues. And it's because of that Clevinger currently has a 1.50 whip. And even if Clevinger throws well here today, the White Sox are one of the lower road scoring teams in the American League. They're going to have to outscore this Toronto lineup, who's almost in the top 5 in hits. Matt Chapman has a handful of home runs, 18 RBI, and an OPS in the thousands. Meanwhile, Vlad Guerrero and Bo Bichette, they're both comfortably hitting in the 300s. Now, injury-wise, Anderson, Alberto, and Moncada are still on the IL for Chicago. When it comes to the total, the Sox are 8-6 of the under in their road games. Meanwhile, Toronto saw 5 out of their last 7 at home stay under the line themselves. Give me Toronto -1.5, under 9.5 runs. Next game, Nats, Mets, 7:10 East. New York's -195, totals 8.5. Jose Butto, possible for New York. Josiah Gray for Washington. And even though Gray's shown some pretty good stuff this year, his team just can't get the W for him. He's officially 0-4 with a 1.48 whip. When it comes to offensive production, these Nats hitters are sending just 3.7 runners across the plate a game. They're facing a Mets team who's very selective at the dish. They're striking out fewer times a game than any other club in the league except for one. They're also walking nearly 5.5 times a game in Flushing, Queens. Pete Alonso's got an OPS near 1,000, and he also ranks second in the bigs in homers with 10 of them. Meanwhile, Brandon Nimmo's hitting 350 with a 950 OPS as well. Now, injury-wise, LeCastro is still on the IL for New York. Plus, if you didn't know, a lot of their arms are on the bench as well. Verlander, Scherzer, Carrasco, Quintana, Diaz, Hernandez, and Coonrod, they're all on the IL or out. Those are just all pitchers. Meanwhile, for Washington, Dickerson, Vargas, Kieboom, and Pineda are still out for them. And when it comes to the total, Washington's going 60% to the under away from the Capitol. Meanwhile, New York saw 4 out of their last 6 at Citi Field stay under the total themselves. Give me the Mets -1.5, under 8.5 runs. Next ball game, Marlins Braves, 7:20 p.m. East. Atlanta's -220, totals 8.5. Charlie Morton for the Braves. Brian Hoeing, he's making his debut for Miami. Now, the 26-year-old struck out 20 hitters in AAA Jacksonville and had a 2.08 ERA. That was all through 17-plus innings. Now, this Marlins lineup, they've also been very selective at the dish as well, very similar to the Mets. But anyway, the Fish, they're in the top 5 in walks on the road. They also rarely strike out when batting first. Luis Arias hits a league best 444 and has an OPS in the thousands. Meanwhile, Jorge Soler leads the roster in homers and has double-digit RBI. Now, they're facing Charlie Morton, who's walked double-digit batters himself with a 1.61 whip. The Braves also played their worst baseball at Truist Park. These guys are just 5-6 in front of their own fans. Now, injury-wise, d'Arnaud, Arcia, and Harris, they're all still out for Atlanta. When it comes to the total, the Braves are 8-3 to the over on their own diamond. Meanwhile, Miami went 60% to the over away from South Beach. Give me the Marlins plus 1.5, over 8.5 runs. Next ball game, it is going to be Tigers at the Brewers, 7:40 p.m. East. Milwaukee's minus 180, totals 9. Eric Lauer for Milwaukee, Spencer Turnbull for Detroit. Now, Turnbull's just 1-3 with an ERA in the high 7s. This Tiger lineup is also scoring a league low 2.5 runs a game as the away team. Now, they're going to have to face Eric Lauer, who's currently 3-1 with 19 strikeouts himself. The Brewers as a team, they're also scoring nearly 6 runs a game in their own building. Rowdy Tellez has 7 home runs and 17 RBI. Meanwhile, Brian Anderson has 5 homers and 18 ribbies himself. Now, injury-wise, Taylor and Mitchell are still on the IL for Milwaukee. When it comes to the total, 3 out of Milwaukee's last 5 did stay under the line. Meanwhile, Detroit's gone 62% to the under in their road trips. Give me the Brewers minus 180, under 9. Next game, Yankees at the Twins, 7:40 Eastern first pitch. Minnesota's minus $1.25, total 6.5. Joe Ryan for the Twins, Nestor Cortez for New York. Now, Cortez is 3-0 with a 1.03 whip. This Yankee pitching staff also allows a league low 6.1 hits a game in their travels. Now, this Twins lineup, they're fanning nearly 11 times a game at the dish at home. And no real surprise here, guys. The Twins are also scoring just 3.5 runs a game at Target Field. Now, injury-wise, Farmer and Celestino are both still out. Kirilloff's still out as well. When it comes to the total, Minnesota's 80% to the under in their own building. Meanwhile, New York's gone 16-7 to the under for the whole year. Give me the Yankees plus 105, under 6.5. Next contest, it is going to be Padres at the Cubs, 7:40 Eastern first pitch. Chicago's minus $1.20, total 7.5. Justin Steele for Chicago, Blake Snell for San Diego. Now, Snell's 0-3 with an ERA in the 6s. This Pods lineup is also second to last in hits. They're facing Justin Steele, who's 3-0 himself with a 1.44 ERA. When it comes to offensive production, the Cubs are leading the league in hits. Patrick Wisdom has a team-high 9 home runs and 18 runs batted in. He's actually third in the league in homers. Meanwhile, Cody Bellinger and Ian Happ, they're both batting in the 300s. Now, injury-wise, Dahl and Engel are still out for San Diego. When it comes to the total, 6 out of the Pod's last 10 meetings with Chicago did get over the number. So if you're into historical trends, plenty of overs to go around. They also saw 3 out of Blake Snell's last 4 starts get over the total as well. Give me the Cubs minus $1.20, over 7.5. Next contest, A's Angels, 9:38 Eastern start time. The LA Angels are minus 185, totals 9. Griffin Canning for LA, Mason Miller for Oakland. Now the A's are tied with Kansas City for the worst record in the majors right now. This A's pitching staff also allows double-digit hits a game and more runs per contest than any other franchise in baseball. Now they're facing an Angels lineup on the other side who's nearly in the top 5 in run production at home. And of course, when you mention the Angels, you got to mention Mike Trout, who has a handful of homers and an OPS in the thousands. Meanwhile, Hunter Renfroe has 6 bombs on the year and a team-best 18 runs batted in. Now, injury-wise, Stassi, Walsh, and O'Hop are all out for the Angels. Pena, Laureano, and Brown are out for Oakland. Give me the Angels minus 185 over 9. Next game, Royals at the Diamondbacks, 9:40 Eastern start time. Arizona's minus 135. Total is 9.5 runs. Ryan Nelson for Arizona. Brady Singer for Kansas City. Now, Singer's got a couple of losses on the year with an ERA in the 8s. And even if Singer does have a good outing here today, these Royal hitters, they're averaging a league low 6.9 hits a game. Now, they're also going to have to face Ryan Nelson on the bump here for the D-backs, and he has a 1.18 whip, and he's yet to lose a game. He's also backed by an Arizona lineup who averages double-digit hits a game at home. They actually lead the majors in that category. Geraldo Perdomo, he's hitting .367 with a dozen RBI. Meanwhile, Corbin Carroll has a handful of home runs. Kelly and Lewis are still out for the D-backs. Waters and Hernandez on the IL for Kansas City. Give me Arizona minus 135 over 9.5. Next and final matchup for the video, it is going to be Cardinals at the Giants, 9:45 Eastern first pitch. San Francisco's minus $120, totals 9. John Brebbia for San Francisco, Jake Woodford for St. Louis. And for a team who doesn't win much, the Cards can certainly get on base. They're a top 5 hitting team in the majors right now. Nolan Gorman's hitting .310 with an OPS in the thousands. He's currently in the top 10 in the majors right now in homers, RBI, and OPS. Meanwhile, Wilson Contreras, well, he has double-digit RBI. They're facing John Brebbia on the hill, who has an ERA in the 5s for the Giants. The San Francisco lineup also strikes out a league-high 10.7 times a game. Now, injury-wise, Ruff, Slate, and Johnson are out for San Fran. When it comes to the total, 6 out of their last 10 meetings with St. Louis did fall under the numbers. So once again, if you were into historical trends, certainly want to think about that one there. Now, the Cards are 70% to the under in their travels this year themselves. Give me the Cards plus $1 under 9. With that, guys, we're going to jump into our quick pick recap. Give me the Blue Jays minus 1.5 under 9.5 runs. New York Mets minus 1.5 under 8 and a hook. Miami plus 1.5 over 8.5 runs. Milwaukee minus 180 under 9. Yankees plus 105 under 6.5. Cubbies minus $120 over 7.5 runs. Angels minus 185 over 9. Arizona minus 135 over 9.5. With my next and final free pick for the video, give me St. Louis plus $1 under 9.